The big talking point is Trent Alexander-Arnold. The last 2 years, possibly, arguably the best right back in the world.
He'd be in the spine, without a doubt, for me. He would play every game. And he's become that important, he really has.
My team's very attacking. I want him in the team.
Right guys, welcome to Between the Lines. It's a bit of a different Between the Lines today. This is what the topic everyone's talking about, the England squad for 2021 this year. All the pubs, all the WhatsApp groups are going to be talking about this. We'll all be different, I'm sure. We've been talking about it leading up to here, but I'm really interested to see what squad you pick, if we're similar or not, but also reasons behind players, the amounts of players in positions, etc. Also, by the way, we're lucky because we've actually been extended from 23 to 26, so it's given us a little bit more space to bring a few in. We was disappointed a few, I think.
It's certainly given Gareth a extra shot in the arm.
Would you have liked that in '98?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always, yeah. As many players you can get on that squad, on that plane, more options you get, yeah, without a doubt. So he'll be pleased with that.
Well, let's have a little look. I'm going to go to my squad. I'll make it easy for you.
All right, let's
The
have a
squad
look.
that I picked. Difficult. When I got the call to do this, I thought, you know what, I'm not sure. But here's my squad here. I've gone for three keepers, obviously. Pickford, Henderson and Pope. I think they picked themselves, to be honest, yeah. I don't think anyone else is really going to be competing for that spot in my eyes. I think the defenders have been a big area. I think we're so blessed with right backs that you're leaving out quality players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka could be in there. Lamptey if he's fit.
No Kyle Walker, really.
Kyle Walker, exactly. But I've erred on the side of I like youth. I want to give youth a chance, and I think that I'm looking ahead as well. Not just this tournament. This has been a bit of a weird lead up to a tournament. Probably an understatement with a pandemic. So I'm looking at this as almost like a free hit for someone like Gareth. That you can introduce some young players, give them experience, really open them up to and expose them to what a tournament's like. And I had that when '98 when you took me to France with a squad. I didn't play one game, didn't play 1 minute, but what I learned in the days around the squad, the atmosphere at a tournament, that really put me in good stead for years to come, and I can see that with a few of the players here who are really young, inexperienced, but I think they'll be able to benefit hugely.
A lot of inexperienced defenders there for tournament. If you leave out Walker and Trippier, would they have come into your thoughts at any point?
Walker, I think, would be the unlucky one in my squad, and he'd have really good grounds to ring me up and give me a piece of his mind.
How much is it, Glenn, when you're picking a team for a tournament? If there's a player out of form, but you know he's done it for you in the past, do you go with form or do you go with...
Can I just answer that before you give us the actual manager's point of view? The only reason being is that if it's a player, if it's Kane out of form, I get it, you can take him because you know what he brings to the party.
Yeah.
Cody at this level is inexperienced as well. So you're gambling that actually I'm going to go that he plays that role and he's good at it in the Premier League and the team he's in. And you still don't even know if he can do it with England. Yeah. So it's a bigger gamble for me in that sense.
Yeah.
No, he's in my squad, so I would go with him because even if he was in bad form at this moment in time, there's players there now that are, between now and the end of the season, are going to hit some bad form, by the way.
Yeah.
So we can't look into the future and know how they're going to go. I think sometimes if you're in a little bit of bad form, going to England, actually, change. You think, this is a different environment, and you start playing well. And especially if the manager then and the coaching staff sit you down and say, look, what's going through your mind at the moment back there? You were playing brilliant at the beginning of the season or over that period of time. I just think he knows that back three inside out.
Yeah.
He knows, he's used to the ball. He's as good as any of them.
Is that something what you would do as well? You'd identify a couple of players, you know what, he needs building up. We're going to go into this tournament, we've got 2-3 weeks with him, let's build him up.
Absolutely, you've got to. You'd have to give him that confidence on that training ground. That's what the training is about, as much as shape and all the things that you do.
Yeah.
But I think it's looking at individuals, to see which ones are a little bit low in confidence, they need building up. And some of them, they're only young, you've got a lot of young players there. Some of them need to be a little bit sort of, hang on a minute, just keep it nice and cool.
It's
nice
interesting what he done with Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you said 3 months ago, it'd have been one of your first names, and reportedly Gareth's sort of give him the call 4 or 5 weeks ago and said, look, you need to up your game a little bit because he was off a bit of form, and he's come back and he's been brilliant in the last few weeks. But talking about players on the peripheries, I remember 2010 I'd been to the last 2 World Cups. I'd come back from an injury and I was in and out of form at Chelsea, in and out of the team. And Capello got a message to me, I think it was after the semi-final. We just beat Villa in the FA Cup semi-final. And I played. And his message was I was going to the World Cup through Ancelotti. And so I was one of them players who probably...
What's
was
that
waiting.
feeling like? Are you going into games thinking who's in the stands watching from England and whatnot, or are you just oblivious to it?
Well, the last sort of the 4 or 5 years before that, before I'd done my big injury, I was a shoe-in the squad. I was playing more often than not. I'd start on the left midfield in them 4-year spells. But then after that, it was nervous. I thought this might be. It turned out I was right. It might be my last chance to go to a World Cup. I was 30. And I just got the nod because I got into a bit of form. And I think with a player like you said, with a midfield player like me, probably thought, if he's in a bit of form, I can take him, he might do something for me. Do you know what I mean? I come off the bench twice in 2010. It was my last World Cup, so I was right in that sense. But yeah, it's a nerve-wracking situation.
Another one that should have been playing as a 10.
Yeah.
Not out on that left-hand side, like you said. You know?
Yeah.
Look at Glenn's squad now. Let's move it on, because I'm sure there's going to be a few differences there. I already know one of them. Connor Cody. You've gone for. Oh, Johnson, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I really like Johnson. I think this fella, if he goes to another club, and West Brom fans won't want to hear that, but where he hasn't got to make sort of 7 or 8 saves every game, which he's done over the season, I think he's a top goalkeeper.
Yeah,
what I've seen this
agree.
season, he's been brilliant, and I think he should be in there, pushing those. I really do. If he was in a bigger club, I think it would be on everyone's lips.
How did you go about picking the players and identifying the players and making sure that you had them all on track? Did you make them aware that they were in your faults if they were on the periphery a little bit, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit different than back in the day. It wasn't as easy to get in touch with them players in many ways. But I had a vision to shape. The thing is, Gareth knows it as well. He's been into the World Cup tournament. You've got to have different plans. I mean, I've picked that squad and I've got 7 different shapes that I could play within that. I've written down which shape I could play, slightly changing. You can go into a 4. So that is a total flexibility to go. For instance, Saka, I wouldn't, not necessarily have him down as a midfield player. He could play as a left wing back. And Shaw could do it if you wanted to do it a different way with the 3 centre backs. There's 3 centre backs in there. There's fullback. What I call the outside centre backs can be fullbacks. You could have Shaw and James. Would be brilliant because they'd be comfortable on the ball, as Walker would be.
I want to hold you back there. I want to come on to shape later when we do the pictures. An interesting one for me here, Antonio. I don't think me or Joe picked Antonio. Well, no slight on him as a player, but he just wasn't in my thoughts really.
I'm going from the beginning of the season. I mean, I know he's been injured, but we were told to pick a team if everyone was flying fit, because obviously Henderson, we've all got Henderson in, but that's in midfield. That's going to be a test whether he's going to be fit or not.
Yeah.
This fella was as good as anyone in the league this year, holding the ball up, turning, getting in behind. The last 15 minutes, 10 minutes of a game, that's where I'm thinking from. You put him on. You give a total different scenario to your centre backs that you're playing against. All of a sudden, who's this fella? He's spinning us 1 minute.
He's
got
a
the
nightmare
power
to play against.
Yeah.
Centre backs in Europe don't come across that type of player all the time.
Calvert-Lewin's got that sort of style as well. At times, you can throw it in there, and I think you need that.
Yeah.
For me, it does make me smile sometimes. The last 5 minutes of any game in any era of football should be get it in the box.
Gung ho.
Yeah.
Get it in the box. Get a second ball. Get a drop down. Get a handball.
Yeah.
That's about winning the match. It's about getting a draw if you're losing. And these players have an impact in a different way. It hasn't always got to be the silky number 10s that are going to come in and change the game.
It's interesting as well because he hasn't actually committed yet to Jamaica or to England yet, from what we hear from his club. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of the season. Joe, let's have a look at your squad.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any surprises.
I think it's pretty similar to yours, Ree. I've gone, like I said, I'm going with Gareth's mind. I'm going to play like a back 3. Listen, look at the skills in the midfield. Yeah, I've gone for all the ball players, No, but it's like the way I've tried to get it is, it's very important for me. Foden, Grealish, Mount, Maddison, the number 10s effectively, I think so much. It's all about the rhythm of international football. and they've got that, they can handle the ball. And I always, whenever I'm picking England squads for a tournament in my pals, wherever I'm doing it, I go back to the semi-final against Croatia, where we got 1-0 up, and they had Modric and Rakitic in midfield, and we still had Henderson, Lingard, and Ali, like lots of attributes around them, but handling the ball and getting us up the pitch and being able to
taking the sting out of the game. Yeah.
But now we've got an abundance of these players, and I could include Bellingham, but I think he's a little bit different as well. So I'll go with a back three again, like Gareth, Glenn. Concer's the only difference, Ray. From your one, you went with Godfrey. I could have gone with Godfrey or Concer. I watched him play. I've seen him from his days at Charlton as well, and I just he keeps getting better and better. But it could have been Godfrey. So just a young player.
You know who's not on any of our list as well? Who's hit? We talked about form earlier.
Yeah.
And that being a big driving factor for a player to get in late in these England squads. Lingard.
True. I considered Lingard.
I was the same. I considered him, but I just think in those positions,
he's not on them levels.
He's 28. He's 28. Right? That's with Lingard. Like people forget that, and I think he's a fantastic player, and he's done enough to get in the squad. You'd be one of them who'd be hard done by. But when I think about it, and I think the future. Do you know what I mean? These three boys, I think, are the present, and Calvert-Lewin, like Glenn said, I think he's definitely if you're chasing a goal, I'm putting him and Kane up top and trying to, Reece James on the pitch, get balls in the box if we gets to that. But yeah, that's the only reason Lingard don't get in, because I'm thinking Sancho and Greenwood are the future.
Well, let's look at our combined squad, guys.
Right.
Which is we've got 20 players.
There's one there that I want to change. Where's the producer? I want to change. I want Greenwood in the squad, actually. I've made it. Yeah, I want to change.
So there's the 20 there that we've got that we all agreed on.
Right, okay.
So Greenwood comes in then, are we all agreeing on that?
Yeah, for sure. He's got to come in.
Yeah.
So Greenwood comes in, he's straight in there. This is obviously, he's one for the future, and who could still affect games now. Fantastic talent. What else are we going to go for?
Do you know one player he's in mine, and I don't think you picked him, but I think because we've got so much youth, like you think about first tournament, all of the midfield's first tournament. I think you have to have Kyle Walker in because he's been there and he's done it, and he wins things, and I think he's one of them that's improved without people really giving him credit for. You don't see the mistakes anymore, do you? I think he's seasoned. I'd play Kyle Walker.
And I'm going to say Walker to go in, because I do agree experience counts for a lot in tournaments.
Yeah.
What keeper are we going to put in, chaps?
Well,
Henderson or Johnson?
Well, I've said my piece on Johnson, so it's...
What about you, John?
Go on, I'm happy with Johnson.
Oh yeah, I'll take Henderson right now, I've got to be honest.
I think
that's
the normal choice. I think most people would take Henderson, to be honest. I'm just looking at it.
I'm all about this end of the pitch, Rio. I'll have a goalkeeper coach to deal with this. Like these boys, they're a strange bunch anyway. The goalkeepers.
That's a big one to leave out, Henderson. I've got to be honest. He's Man United's #1 right now. But I'll go with you guys if that's what you say. You beat me 2-1.
Go on. So out of them, Rio, the selection pool, who are you gonna put in balance of the squad?
I would definitely put in. Oh, it's difficult. I'll go for Godfrey based on what we spoke about earlier, because I think a young player, I think, for the future, who may not play, but if need be could play, but more importantly for the future would gain so much out of it.
I think that's the key. If you're taking youngsters, that is a great thing to do. I did it with you, but they have to be good enough. If you get a 2-player suspension in that unit, and then a player gets injured in training or a match, they've got to be able to go in, and you've got to have the confidence to go, he's good enough. So it's not about just bringing them for the bus ride and the plane journey. It's like he's got to be good enough. You know.
Declan Rice has put himself right at the front of the queue as well with his performances this year. The way West Ham have played and the way he's performed in that. Where would he sit in your reckoning?
He'd be in the spine of my team. I mean, fingers crossed, he's going to be fit. I mean, that's the touch and go. He should be okay. He'd be in the spine without a doubt for me. He would play every game. And he's become that important. He really has. What I take out of conversations with him is that he asks a lot of questions and talks about improving, adding things to his game, trying to play more with his left foot, longer balls over bigger, varied distances. And so you're seeing he's bearing the fruits of that. We're going to add another attacker?
Yep.
I threw in. I've put the. I love him. I think what we're talking about. Yeah. No, sorry. No, Phillips. What you said about Rice becoming a better passer forward. This kid's already got it.
Yeah, he can pass.
So that balance would be interested to me. I wouldn't mind playing both of them in there. I'd be happy with it. If Henderson isn't fit, and let's hope he is, I think that wouldn't be a bad balance. But yeah, I think we're short on the
You like him,
attacking.
Phillips?
I like him. I like I like what he brings.
You want to put a striker in though, do you?
We can put a midfielder. That's fine. I like Phillips. I really like. I watched him again the other day closely against Man United. I thought he was all action, all over the pitch.
He can get round the pitch,
and he's unfazed.
Yeah.
Coming to the Premier League, hit the ground running, puts an England shirt on, not a problem.
He's brave in his passing.
Yeah.
He's brave, and you know, if he sees it, he'll hit it.
He'll play it. Yeah. Who are we taking? Are we taking a forward, a defender, a midfielder? Who do you want, guys? Yeah, as much as it gives you help, 26 players, it brings more problems as well.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't put him in, but the only thing I was thinking is if Shaw got injured and you did want to play a back four, you had to go into a back four. You're struggling to put a left back.
That's what I'm thinking.
Would you put Saka in the back four?
Chill well then, guys. It is.
Yeah,
I agree
it's
with
gotta
you,
be.
Glenn. That's That's why you're here, Glenn.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I didn't put him in my squad though.
We only asked you when it was 23. Don't forget.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. We're going to build Gareth's first starting 11 against Croatia in the Euros. Help me out here. What we're going to go for? Goalkeeper.
That's a test.
Pickford.
Straight away.
Experience.
Yeah, I think because I think Gareth will go with him as well because he hasn't let him down.
So we're going to have three at the back because we feel Gareth. I think all of us are unanimous and we think Gareth's going to play the three at the back. Yeah. So starting from right to left, who are we going to go with, guys?
For me, that would be Stones, Maguire, and Shaw in the left centre back position.
Okay. Why are you going to go with Shaw?
Because I feel that I personally, I don't think Gareth would do it, but I'd like to see Sterling play and be protected so that Shaw could go out defensively as a left back if need be.
You play Sterling left wing?
Yeah, I'd play him on the left hand side. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, not as a wing back, as a wing, the winger part of the wing back.
Yeah.
Because you can protect it with a full back that can go out and is happy to defend out there. That's why I think Shaw's really important. He's had a great season. He can play wing back himself if you wanted to.
So he understands what's in front of him.
Yeah, and I just feel that what we didn't learn and we haven't learned at international level yet is, and that's why he's changed it, and he's gone back to 3. We go into a 5, and I think if we go into a 5 again against Croatia, we're going to cause or good teams, we're going to cause ourselves a problem.
Let me just put the ones you just said then. Hold on quickly. So you said Stones.
Stones in the centre.
On the right.
No, go on the right side. Yeah.
Stones on the right. Shaw on the left.
Shaw on the left and Maguire in between.
And Maguire in between that.
Yeah.
You happy with that, Joe?
I'm happy. I would possibly, instead of Shaw, I really like Shaw, but because I'd want to get Reece James and Trent in the team, I might even put Reece James or Kyle Walker in this position and put Stones there. But then I've got 2 right backs.
That's a really good point. And I said to you, I have 7 systems for this squad that I have.
Yeah.
You could do the same as what I'm saying on the other side because Reece James could play there.
Yeah.
And he's happy to go out and defend, like you're saying, Shaw. So you put another centre back in there.
Yeah.
But you could do the same thing and have a winger this side. You could bring Sterling over this side, or you could have Alexander there.
Yeah.
I've heard you say before though, you like your 2 wide ones of the 3 to be comfortable, to be able to go out into these areas, to go and be fullbacks almost.
Yeah.
Is Stones capable of doing that?
No, well, if you're going to play that, if he's going to slide out there, these 2 become your centre backs against the one up, and your wing back slides in there. So Reece James would be absolutely perfect for that, or Trent. You have a wing back on one side, and a winger on the other.
Which one out of all of them we've chosen in all the fullbacks in our squad? Because I think with Stones and Maguire, you're 2 recognised, experienced centre backs. Out of all the fullbacks, whether it be left or right, which one of them do you think is the most accustomed to play either here or here?
I think Shaw.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I've seen him do it for Man United.
Right.
He's done that. So
He's been brilliant, Shaw.
Yeah.
And Kyle Walker's been brilliant as well for Man City.
Carl,
So.
Walker can play that role as well.
Yeah.
I've seen James play that role at a younger age, he was outstanding. Obviously, this is a bit different, but I think with his experience, he could play that position.
I see Reece James playing there.
I think eventually he could end up playing.
If you want to play free and be able to come out and be comfortable in defending in wide areas. Let's move up the pitch a little bit then, into the wing-back area. So we're going to play 4 across the middle, aren't we? We want to play 2 wing-backs, or 2 midfielders, and then 2 holding midfielders, or you tell me, guys, what do you want to do in there?
For me, I think you've got to get the centre of the park. So I think Declan Rice is nailed on. I'm just going to assume Jordan Henderson's unfit.
Yeah,
because that's what we're here. So for me, Glenn,
Centre like that?
No. I'd just slightly there. And the person I'd put next to him, who I think who can break from there and get on the ball and be disciplined, is Mason Mount. And I mean, a lot of Chelsea fans might say I'm being a bit biased, but I think he's more effective here, but I think I want to get Foden.
You want to get the others in.
And Jack in as well. Yeah. My team's very attacking. I want him in the team. And I think, talk about relationships around the pitch, players who don't. Declan Rice and Mason Mount have been best mates since they were that high. I just think, together as what's your...
Joe, I saw him play there for Chelsea's last game. They played him in a deeper role and he didn't do so well for me.
Right, okay.
I've got to say, it might have just been that one-off game.
Yeah.
I think he's better off further forward, myself, personally. If Henderson's not fit, I wouldn't mind putting Phillips in there. I think he's a good footballer.
Bellingham? I watched Bellingham playing in Champions League quarter-finals against Man City, and in midfield, one of the most dominant players as a 17-year-old in Champions League quarter-finals. I mean, none of them lot have played in that level. Yeah. He's been there and done it.
True.
Well, it's a good shout. It's a big ask going into the first game, though.
Yeah.
I would just maybe say it's a big ask. The one thing you can't do in a tournament is lose your first game.
Yeah.
You're behind the 8 ball, straight away. So I think you've got to be a little bit aware of who you're playing against as well here.
Yeah.
So
might come into
Rakitic and Modric, experienced ball players. Yeah. So you'd go with who, guys? I'm going to push you on this.
You're a part of this decision as well.
Yeah. Me personally, I've got to be honest, I'd go Bellingham.
Well, I'll go Mount. Glenn goes
Phillips.
Phillips. You go Bellingham. You're the gaffer. Put Bellingham in.
I'm going to go Bellingham. I'm sorry. What I saw against Man City, for a young kid to do that, and then Pep go in the conference and say he's lied about his age. So in terms of wing backs, where do you go from here then, guys? Or do you call them wing backs or do you call them midfielders?
Well, this is where I slightly would be different. I did it years ago when we did it. We had David Beckham on one side at times and Graham Rousseau. So it was like a midfield. But Gary Neville went out. Whoever was playing in that right side centre back would go out and defend. If they split us, if there was 2 up, the 3 could handle that and the wing backs could go in. So Becks didn't really have to come back that many times.
So a lot of teams now don't play 2 up, do they?
No,
they play the 3.
How many times do we see one striker up against 3 defenders and we're getting outnumbered?
Yeah.
And that's where I think we have to be a bit cuter. I would play Sterling on this side and be protected, like I'm saying, and I'd play Reece James as a wing back.
It's attacking, Glenn.
I'll tell you what, I know one person who's not playing that, and that's Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, no, I don't think if Gareth plays this, I think he'll go Chilwell and a right back. I don't think he'd go with a balance, but I'm just trying to think.
You could play Saka there as a wing back.
Yeah, Saka's in the squad because I can trust him. If we play this system, I can trust him there. I mean,
but what would you do?
Why would you not play Sterling?
If they have a striker out here and they have one down the middle and one there.
Yeah.
How would you get Saka then to come back and pick
That's what
him
I was going to say to you. How do you defend that? That's
what I'm saying. Shaw would go and defend that.
Yeah.
So Sterling wouldn't have to even work back there. Or a winger.
So you've got a striker.
Sancho,
so Maguire takes the central striker.
Yeah, you've got 2v1 there.
With him.
And then Reece James for me.
Reece James back in to be a 4 at the back.
Yeah.
So when you're saying, so when you defend, you'll become a 4. So let's put Reece James there for argument's sake.
This is where people, I think, get carried away with systems.
Yeah.
You've got to have a system when you've got the ball, and you've got to have a system when you haven't got the ball.
So you're saying this is how it is when you've got the ball?
Yeah.
Basically?
Well, when you've got the ball, I would split them. I'd make them really difficult for those wide men. Do they go and push into Shaw and Stones, give us our base to go and play?
When you're saying Sterling there, but then when you defend, people would assume that Sterling then becomes a defender when we lose the ball. So Gareth Southgate's team in the past, when we haven't had the ball, has been pushed back like against Croatia, etc., like this. Yeah. So it becomes a back 5,
Exactly.
And you're saying you wouldn't do that. You would make sure that Sterling remains in the midfield area. Shaw goes out to the wide player, the two centre-backs mark the centre-forward.
That's it.
And Reece James slides into a back four.
Which he's comfortable doing.
Yeah, and they make it almost like a free midfield, like that.
Well, you've got a wing-back here, and he can play as a wing-back, but coming in wherever, whatever you do there going forward.
I mean, when we're defending, this is when we're
defending. He then stops the full-back coming.
Yeah.
Against Croatia in the World Cup, we had both their full-backs coming at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we kept Rashford and Kane up. And both their full-backs were coming, and in the end, the back five was on the edge of our box, and we were in trouble.
Yeah.
And in the end, they got the.
That's the area I hope we've learnt from.
Yeah, I
definitely
hope so.
in the first game. So you're going to play Reece James at right back. So obviously the big talking point is Trent Alexander-Arnold. The last 2 years, possibly, arguably the best right back in the world. You're going to play Reece James.
I'd start with him. I wouldn't, as the tournament goes, in that game, I think we need to be solid. I think Trent Alexander could come back here and play as a fullback when he's at the top of his game, like he does. I mean, I saw him. He puts lots of players, attacking players. You think when he came in, Sane against Man City, he had him in his pocket. I'm thinking this is going to be a test for you, boy.
Anfield,
But I think sometimes defensively, it's just. He takes a little liberty with his positional play, and that's not that couple of sessions on a training pitch. You've got that sorted, so he could actually end up playing there as well.
Trent.
Don't forget,
it's a good problem to have that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've got so much quality, and I think if you're asking Harry Kane, either of them, because he can put the ball on a sixpence as well, can't he? He can cross it. Yeah, with Trent, I feel like he'll be feeling hard done by that if he's not starting.
Because I'm
thinking, Rio, if this was a wing back scenario that comes back in, we make that 5, like you're saying. What we do is we bring then wide men there and there, don't we?
Yeah, we have one up front.
And one up front.
Yeah.
And then we get a 3v2. If Modric.
we're murder.
You only got somewhere you're going to lose out. In every system you have, you've got an Achilles heel, and you have to try and deal with that Achilles heel. And I don't like that. And you've got to be brave.
You have to be brave. That's where we wasn't last time. Either we just tactically wasn't ready for it, or we wasn't brave. Listen, guys, we got to get to the area that Joe loves. The front three.
Well, listen, you've got to, obviously you're going to go with the main man H as the number 9. I mean, he's in everyone's team. Nobody can doubt that. And because for so long in international football, we've just not had enough ball players and technicians on the pitch. I'm going to go with Foden on the right, and I'm going to go with Jack on the left, providing they're both fit. You know, so
you're looking pinging off right now.
So you'd have Mount in the team, but deeper.
Just let him off the shackles. Play. I know you like. Maybe my mindset will change when I'm actually standing there and I'm thinking.
Yeah, and you've got the media.
Yeah, when I'm brave in the BT studios, I'm getting all of them players in.
I agree with that. I'd have 100% Foden.
So you're putting
in this little pocket.
Foden has to play
in the pocket there.
So you'd have Foden in there.
Yeah, definitely. And he can go wide. You can come in that 10. It's like playing 2 10s really.
And you'd have
this one here,
Grealish.
For me, would be Mount or Grealish.
Mount or Grealish. Yeah.
Would it?
Yeah.
I may, if we're chasing the game, just to balance it off, I would maybe bring Sterling inside because he's more of a threat going inside, and Foden can play as a left wing back. Listen, if you've got control of the possession.
No, but in possession, he's made for this fella to go out here and him to come inside. You've got all sort of combinations, as you would do with these two. And, you know, he makes runs. He makes great little blind runs and little overlays. He's a clever player. Now, what you're lacking there a little bit would be a box.
That's my only concern with
box threat.
Yeah, that's my only concern. That's where I think you look at Rashford.
Yeah.
Or you put Saka left wing back and you bring Sterling as a left-sided player. Maybe I don't know.
That's an option.
But it's just I just feel as a defender.
Yeah.
Is there enough pace?
Box threat. Yeah.
And box threat going that way in a game like that but at the same time you're playing against Croatia, who've got ball players in midfield who aren't the most mobile. These two players maybe. Yeah, but these two players in this type of game give you massive help in an important area, which is here, to retain possession.
Absolutely.
That's maybe what you look at as well.
But you got to look at stages of the game because if we're 1-0 up with 20 to go, your Rashfords come on, your Sterlings, you move, and they're coming at you. They're opening up. Do you think Croatia are going to open up against us? No. We're going to need intricate little players like Foden and Grealish or Mount to open this team up. If we get ourselves 1-0 up, wow, it's a different story then. You're looking at Rashford and saying, when do I put him on? When do I get the pace on there? When do I put Sterling up there maybe and put Saka on or you know, a wing back?
We haven't even spoken about Sancho, by the way. He's one of the best young talents in the world.
I know.
But and Rashford, Greenwood will play his role. Calvert-Lewin's a good difference as a number 9. But the thing for me, which is what I think, you tell me if I'm wrong as a manager, but one thing I think needs to be explained to a squad, which probably wasn't explained maybe in as much depth as it needed when I played and we played, is that you're all here for a reason. And if you don't start the first game, don't sulk, you're with me. And I think that's an important point, especially for attacking players who, they won't like me for saying it, but there's ego, with the different type of ego with the forward players. And you might not be right for this game. That's what Fergie was great at. You're not right for Saturday against Liverpool, but Tuesday
–
Chelsea, you're perfect for.
Now, you know, possibly if it's Croatia's first game, you would do something where you'd put him in there. You'd play him up there and put a wing back in there and make yourself a little bit tight the first game. I'm saying in an ideal world, that could be a shape that you could work at. But you're right, Rio. I mean, the greatest example of all is when we went and won it. Do you think Jeff Hurst thought he was going to be the, you know, what happened to him? Exactly. So, and that's what you have to get through to players, and it's up to the players. You can't force them. In the end, it's how they take it.
Well, listen, well, here we go. It's a great way to finish. Jeff Hurst. Let's hope we can find a Jeff Hurst within this squad. There we have it. There is Gareth Southgate's starting 11 against Croatia.
I don't think it will be, but
if he's brave.